Some of you may already know this, but yesterday on May 7th, the $5,000 Bloons CD Battles 2 YouTuber charity tournament had started. And I and many other YouTubers in the community were involved, and it was a lot of fun. First game went pretty well. We went against SJB, secured the dub there, and it was a fantastic game overall. He's gonna use a Maelstrom. Oh, and the AI. Yo, GG's. Second game, we were up against ISAB. And ISAB, he's like the legend of BTD, you know? So I was pretty nervous for this one, but it actually came down to the wire, but he ended up securing the dub. But honestly, I was completely and utterly fine with that because it was a great game overall. Please. Please. Oh, wait. Oh, I can't go for it. No way. No. Yo, GG's. And so because I lost, it sent me to the losers bracket, and then I ultimately had to play Mr. Ender. Now me and Mr. Ender ended up randomizing our map choice, and we ended up getting In the Wall. Now In the Wall is literally my least favorite map in all of BTD Battles 2. Every time that I get it, I skip it, so I don't really have too much experience on the map as a whole. So we ended up banning the Spike Factory because I was constantly using that, and I ended up banning the Ninja because I think he was using that as well. So I decided to go Boomer, Village, Super Monkey, and the game had started. So of course with this strategy, I ended up starting off with the Boomer, but notice the positioning of where I had it. The range of it was just barely outside of the brick wall, making it so that it won't hit the brick wall when upgrading to a Glaive Ricochet. So of course for every upgrade before that, so the 000, the 100, and the 200, the Glaives will hit the wall because the way the Glaive is thrown, it's thrown in a circle, and it actually is thrown outside the range of the Boomer. So during those earlier game rounds against the Reds, it wasn't all that good. I ended up going for the Glaive Ricochet, and mind you, this is a 300 Glaive Ricochet just against normal blues, which of course it can defend against normal blues pretty easily. So then I decided to go for Oben literally right next to my Boomer because I thought in the long run I probably would have a bunch of Super Monkeys down there, and I wanted my Super Monkeys to ultimately be buffed by him. But as you guys can see, the Glaive Ricochet is not doing so well, and I thought maybe it's because I have yet to upgrade to anything on the bottom path, because whenever I go for the Glaive Ricochet, I cross path it with the bottom path because it makes it a lot better. But even after upgrading to the 301, I was still doing pretty bad. And if you look closely, sometimes the Glaive Ricochet is working properly, but most of the time, it is not working as it's intended to work. And I was confused as to why I was leaking consistently, so I decided to set Oben to strong, which I don't think that made really much of a difference because he's not that good DPS wise during the earlier game rounds. And if you look very, very closely, literally my Boomer is constantly missing the balloons and just straight up hitting the wall, so the Ricochet won't even go off. But sometimes when the Ricochet goes off, it only travels to like 2 other balloons and then just completely stops. So obviously here I'm panicking because I'm like, why is my Boomer not working? In any other situation, it should work and should easily defend against just normal space pinks. So I decided to set it to last, not knowing that that would make it even worse, but I was already screwed because the thing wasn't even working to begin with. Then I ended up tower boosting because again, I was just in panic mode because I was like, what is happening? This literally never happens. A 302 Glaive Ricochet always defends this. And here on round 5, he ends up balloon boosting space whites at me, and I end up dying because one, the Boomer wasn't working. It was targeted to last, but honestly, even if I had it on first, it would still continue to miss shots. So I thought last was better than it just constantly missing. And as you guys can see, as I lose, I'm in just total disbelief, confusion. I'm like, what in the heck just happened? So I had DM'd H-Bomb and I was like, listen, I honestly think my Boomer was bugged. Something was wrong because that normally never happens. I've used Boomer on that map before in that same position, and it has worked perfectly fine before. So when it did that, that just really threw me off because it's like I lost because my Boomer just was not working. It's not like I didn't have the right defenses or I didn't micro properly or I didn't have enough money. It simply was because my Boomer was broken. So of course, it's double elimination. I was out of the tournament after that. And of course, yes, I was super, super upset. I just decided to end stream. We had already been streaming for nearly 6 hours, so I was just very, very embarrassed because that's just an embarrassing loss right there, you know? And then the YouTuber known by the name of Punji ended up DMing me and said, I hate that Boomer bug. So unfortunate. I said, yeah, is it a bug or is it how the tower is supposed to be? I'm confused. And he says, I can't just tell from BTD6, it works different there. So we carry on the conversation and then ultimately end up going into a private match together to recreate the exact same scene, the exact same setup that I had, just to see if it would still work the way it did in that tournament game. So of course, it's going to be hard to exactly replicate the same exact game. So it didn't really matter what Punji over there was doing because it ultimately mattered what my defenses were doing. So I'm not kidding you when I say this. I pixel perfectly lined up my boomer in the same exact position. Here are two side-by-side pictures. The one on the left is from the tournament game, and then the one on the right is from the private match game against Punji. It is literally pixel perfect. So I had the tournament game on my other monitor, and I was trying to replicate every single move that I did while in that tournament game once again. I went for 2-2-0-0 boomers. Wait, so I actually did not do this in the tournament game against Mr. Ender, but here's the thing. That completely doesn't even matter because I eventually sell one to go for the Glaive Ricochet. All that matters is if the Glaive Ricochet is in the same exact spot, and it was. Eventually sold it to go for the Glaive Ricochet, and then ultimately ended up placing Oben right to the left of the boomer. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Oben was in the same pixel perfect spot as it was in the tournament game. I'm not too sure because I wasn't too worried about that because I knew Oben didn't really have much of an effect to what all had occurred. So as long as he was just like right next to him, set the strong eventually, that's really all that mattered. So my opponent, Mr. Ender, ended up sending me Space Pinks near the start of round 4, and I had a 3-0-0 boomer and an Oben right next to it. And if you remember from the tournament game, I was struggling super hard with a 3-0-0. But as you guys can see here, there is no struggling whatsoever. I still, just in case, went for the 3-0-1 because that's what I normally do anyway against Space Pinks once I have enough money, and then eventually to the Red Hot Fangs upgrade as well. It's ranks, not fangs, I'm sorry. But of course, as you guys can see, I'm still way over 100 lives. He even ends up balloon boosting them, balloon boosting Space Whites. Remember, I had already boosted by this point with my game against Mr. Ender in the tournament. But here, even with balloon boosted Whites and stuff, I am completely and utterly fine. This is how the boomer should normally work. Pixel perfect placement, same exact placement, and it's working fine. Me and Punji ended up playing like 10 plus private matches, trying out different boomer spots and stuff, moving it up a little bit, moving it to a pixel to the left a little bit, just all these different things. And the boomer was working as it should. The 3-0-2 was easily shredding Space Pinks, Space Whites, the whole 9 yards. But of course, if you end up setting a boomer right next to the wall, it simply will not work. But that is why I ended up having my position where I had it. I have used this position before in the past, and it has worked perfectly fine for me. But of course, in the tournament game, it simply was just bad. It was so bad. And honestly, it's none of Mr. Ender's fault. Like, he has nothing to do with this, and it's not like he caused my boomer to just like bug out, have bad RNG, be unlucky. I don't know. So this is what I'm asking you guys. What do you think happened? Am I being over dramatic about this? Did I get super unlucky? Was it RNG? Was it bugged? I seriously do not understand because we recreated the same exact setup so many times and the boomer was working every single time as it should. Again, if you have it too close to the wall, it will not work as it's supposed to. But that's because it's just too close to the wall. And I'm sorry, I don't normally make videos like this, but again, like losing on round 5 to Space Whites is just super embarrassing. And I would have rather lose to like him all-outing me, or I ended up all-outing him and he defended. Like, you know, I want a fair play. And again, nothing against Mr. Ender. None of this is his fault. I wish I would have got to rematch him, but I understand, you know, it's a charity tournament. At the end of the day, it's for a good cause. It's all good, but in the moment, I was pretty upset. Ended up just like kind of rage quitting off stream. And I was just ultimately super embarrassed. Like, I just really wanted to redeem myself because I know I'm much better than that. And it was just a lousy game. I wish I could have, like, you know, went a little bit later with him, and I was feeling really confident with the rest of the tournament. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys in today's video. Again, please let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. ISAB ended up winning the tournament. I think Luke King got second, and then Ryan got third. So congrats to everybody. And remember, this is all for a good cause. So thank you to H-Bomb for putting on such a great event. It was a little bit long, but still, nonetheless, he did a fantastic job. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.